Marvel fans, I have a theory that quarantine has turned every single Marvel actor and producer into Tom Holland when it comes to spoilers because, yes, Don Cheadle just gave away the farm when it comes to his appearance in an upcoming Marvel project that we didn't think he would be in. Let's break it down. What's up, everybody? It's Josh. Welcome back to the channel. Smash that like button, and a big reminder that a large part of what we are doing for the Den of Nerds moving forward is happening over on our live streaming channel. Okay, so spoiler warning, ladies and gentlemen. This is news. Likely you won't be able to escape from this news coming out there. It's going to circulate online, but it has created a discussion because some people are upset that this story is out there. The thing that I find ironic about this is Don Cheadle was the one that admitted that he was in the show.
He runs his mouth a lot. You don't believe in that stuff?
No. So again, spoiler warning, get on out of here. But what am I talking about? What did Don Cheadle say about the what now?
Where are we going?
Well, he basically just came out and admitted that he's going to be in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier show, and he was discussing Armor Wars and how that's really, really hyped, and he's kind of implying that there's going to be a connection between Falcon and the Winter Soldier and Armor Wars. So a couple of great articles are breaking down this situation over at murphysmultiverse.com. I think that website is great. Charles has recently brought on some more staff, and they're doing great work over there. Highly recommend murphysmultiverse.com. Here is what Don Cheadle himself said in an interview to the Bro Bible's post-credit podcast. In the interview, he states that it's been really fun and interesting, and by all imagination, completely open-ended. This can go anywhere. It's great. I can't wait to get in the room with all the writers and figure out how all those things connecting Armor Wars to the MCU happen. You know, Rhodey shows up in Winter Soldier and Falcon's show, so it can be a lot. Again, I'm sorry, what now, Don Cheadle?
I talk too much. Little chatty.
But let's table that for just a second. Let's look at the other article, and then let's speculate on what all of this means. Now, Don Cheadle says here in the same interview, but on a different article on Murphy's Multiverse, that where we've been sort of progressing Rhodey, even in the last film, where he's now up again, and he's now walking again, and he's now mobile again. So as the technology continues to develop, and we keep making innovations in the suit and what happens, I imagine there's going to be another elevation and another way that we're going to keep digging into that part of Rhodey. Okay, so very, very interesting stuff. Now, again, spoiler warning, but at this point, it's going to be hard to talk about what I think this means without talking about other rumors, leaks, and spoilers. So just a general spoiler warning for all things MCU coming out. You know, we're kind of in that spoiler culture. We look at these sort of things. It's just kind of what we do here. Sorry, gotta be us. Okay, now, what is fascinating to me is just how juicy I think Armor Wars is about to become. There's a lot of cool stuff from the comic books that they could adapt from that storyline. That storyline, however, in the comics does heavily involve Tony Stark, who is, of course, dead in the MCU. Now, that's already been addressed by Feige and by different people. Tony Stark and his death is going to hang and loom large, not only over the whole MCU, but specifically with Armor Wars. That's going to be a big, big part of that story. Now, what's interesting about the Don Cheadle Warmachine character is that the last time we see him, although he fights alongside with the Avengers and helps Tony and everybody out, he technically, right up until those moments before the snap, was still working with General Ross. He had sided with Tony with the Sokovia Accords, and one must wonder, in a post-snap and blip world, where do Rhodey's loyalties lie? As a military man, he likely wants to help. He wants to help make the world safer. He wants to combat against another invasion or another Thanos-like event. And so, you know, he might be willing to work with Ross once again. And when it comes to Falcon and the Winter Soldier, we know that Ross is going to play some kind of a role in that show, and that the whole idea of the Shield and the government bringing back the Captain America role is sort of a propaganda piece to make people feel safe. At the same time, there are forces out there in the world that are taking advantage of the fear that the entire planet is living with, and they are trying to further their reach, whether it be through control or whether it be through sort of watching people or observing them. And so, you know, you could see that maybe even a surveillance state being created on the planet where a lot of sort of freedoms are given up, more hero groups are organized, more super soldier programs are created, sort of an acceleration of some scary things in the wake of the Thanos event. This feels right to me. This feels like things that have been done in Marvel Comics before, and if you're just looking at the MCU, this would make sense for them to go through a period of time like this. And Armor Wars and some of the events with the Thunderbolts and ties to the Sokovia Accords will be a major part of what is happening in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, what is happening in Armor Wars, what is likely going to be happening in the Secret Invasion storyline, and eventually in Captain Marvel 2, which we do think will be sort of like an Avengers 4.5, with the Secret Invasion story likely being the main focus of that plot. Now, beyond that, let's talk about the Armor Wars show itself, because this is fascinating to me. I think it's going to be really cool to see how Cheadle explores, basically, I think, trying to protect Tony's tech or keep Tony Stark's tech out of the hands of nefarious people, while at the same time perhaps understanding that Tony's tech will be needed to help keep everybody safe, right? Another interesting side to this, with Tony, the government has always wanted that suit. It's in Iron Man 1. They want that property. Tony fights against them. It's a big part of the whole thing with the Iron Man character. Again, moving forward in a world where governments may want more control because of the Thanos event, they may want more weapons, more protection, and those sort of things, they're likely going to double down on their efforts to go get Tony Stark's tech so that the government can defend the people of Earth. That's going to be the line. And it's going to be interesting to see how a character like Don Cheadle's Warmachine deals with that. What is Rhodey going to think about that situation, and how is he going to play that? And another interesting aspect of the show is, of course, the character of Riri Williams. Now, this character is not a super popular character from the comics, and when this character was introduced in the comics, it actually created quite a divide in the Marvel fan base, because a lot of people thought that, well, the character just wasn't that great and was sort of shoehorned in there to check some boxes off on sort of like a diversity sort of thing. Which, by the way, is their complete and total right to feel that way. It's your right to disagree with that. Everybody can have their opinion. Regardless, I think it's safe and fair to say that Riri Williams being introduced in Marvel Comics didn't go off without a hitch. The character wasn't fully embraced. It was a weird situation. However, bringing that character into the MCU and attaching that character to Don Cheadle as Warmachine and to Tony Stark as Iron Man, and perhaps really leveraging her in a position that pits her against some characters we really don't like and teams her up with some characters we really love, I think you're setting the MCU version of the Riri Williams character up for a lot more success. I personally am willing to give this character a chance in live action. If I like the character in live action, then I like the character in live action. If her appearance and her performance is no good, if I don't buy it or I feel like it's bland and just shoehorned in, then that's how I will feel. But I do think regardless, if you dissect this news, it's interesting to at least consider the fact that Feige may well be trying to do some of the characters from all new, all different Marvel, which notoriously, like, Marvel fans, by and large did not fully embrace, but he might be willing to do them and do them in a much better way to sort of show that, like, hey, you Marvel Comics writers and Marvel Comics proper, you could have done this with these characters that, yes, are diverse. You could have done this in an actual organic way that would have made audiences love these characters, and instead you didn't. I don't know if that's exactly what's happening. Maybe I'm just sort of projecting my own feelings about the situation and my hopes that Marvel will just do it better. But regardless, I do think it's interesting, and they're doing it, dude. Sam Captain America, seems like it's happening. It seems like you're going to get Riri Williams. It seems like some of the other things that happen in all new, all different Marvel, like a Jane Foster Thor, are on the table as well. And as Marvel fans, I'm just sitting back and hoping that Feige will do a much better job in live action than was done in the comics. But that's the news, guys. Don Cheadle confirms that he's in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's pretty wild, and there are a lot of implications that sort of tie into other rumors and leaks. We discussed a lot of that and speculated as well. Let us know what you think about all of that and more. Make sure you go check out the live streaming channel. And as I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.